Graphic medicine brings together comics and healthcare. When artists create comics about illness, they combine words and pictures in ways that traditional medical writing cannot match. These visual stories, called graphic pathographies, show us what sickness really feels like from the inside. They give voice to patients, caregivers, and doctors in ways that medical textbooks often miss. Comics have a special power to talk about difficult subjects. Throughout history, comics have been linked with countercultural ideas and challenging authority. This makes them perfect for discussing topics that society often avoids, such as death, caregiving, mental health, and reproductive problems. The combination of images and text allows readers to connect with experiences that might otherwise feel too abstract or distant. In this lecture, we will explore Paula Knight's 2017 graphic memoir, The Facts of Life, through two lenses: eco criticism and medical humanities. Eco criticism looks at how literature deals with nature and environment. Medical humanities brings insights from the arts and humanities to understand health and illness. Together, these perspectives help us see how Knight uses the natural world to cope with her experiences of childlessness, miscarriages, and chronic fatigue syndrome. To fully understand Knight's work, we need to consider the concept of planetary health. This idea emerged from a major 2015 report by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Lancet Medical Journal. Planetary health recognizes that human well being depends entirely on the health of Earth's natural systems. We cannot be healthy if our planet is sick. The main drivers of environmental decline are familiar to us all: excessive resource use, growing populations, and rapid technological change. These same factors also affect human health in direct and indirect ways. Traditional health approaches have moved from a purely biological view to a biopsychosocial model that considers psychological and social factors. But planetary health goes even further. It brings together health humanities and environmental humanities to break down the false separation between nature and culture. This framework shows us that health is not just about our bodies or our minds, it is about our relationship with the entire world around us. Knight's memoir beautifully demonstrates this connection. Her personal healing becomes intertwined with ecological restoration. As she struggles with infertility and chronic illness, she turns to the natural world for solace and meaning. This strategic move from personal suffering to environmental action proves deeply transformative. Medical definitions describe infertility as a reproductive disease, but as lived experience, infertility carries enormous social and psychological weight. Society strongly links motherhood with female identity. This ideology, called pronatalism, suggests that women can only find true fulfillment through having children. These cultural pressures create intense suffering for women who cannot conceive. The psychological challenges are severe. Women dealing with infertility often face social stigma and blame, even though infertility affects both men and women equally. They experience grief, depression, self doubt, and a disrupted sense of identity. Their plans for the future collapse. Their understanding of themselves and their place in the world becomes uncertain. Knight's protagonist, Polly, faces exactly these pressures. Along with her partner Jack, she tries repeatedly to conceive. She suffers multiple miscarriages and struggles with chronic fatigue syndrome. Eventually, after much pain and medical intervention, they decide to stop treatment. This decision does not come easily, but it opens the door for Polly to question the pro-natalist assumptions that have shaped her life. She begins to dismantle the belief that biological motherhood is the only path to female fulfillment. One of Knight's most powerful techniques is her use of visual metaphors from the natural world. These images convey complex emotional and physical states that words alone could not capture. Throughout the memoir, nature becomes a language for expressing what cannot be easily said. Consider the wood grain pattern that runs through the entire book. This simple structural motif grounds the visual storytelling in nature from the very beginning. The pattern reminds us that human lives are woven into the larger fabric of the natural world. Knight also uses specific animal imagery to represent different aspects of her experience. Nesting swans on the river Avon repeatedly failed to build their nest because of rising tides. This mirrors Polly's own failed attempts to build a traditional family. The swans struggle against forces beyond their control, just as Polly struggles against biological realities. A tortoise appears during episodes of extreme fatigue, capturing the slow burden movement of her body during CFS flare ups. Frogs in the throat visualize the difficulty of speaking and articulating feelings when hypothyroidism affects her. An elephant represents the crushing weight of muscle pain pressing down on her body, and soaring birds symbolize the sense of freedom she finally achieves when she releases herself from pronatalist expectations. The structure of the memoir itself follows a plant cycle. Part 1 opens with the seed falling from a plant, aligning with Polly's childhood and growth. Part 2 begins with the squirrel gathering that fallen seed, representing her formative years and the struggle with childlessness. Part 3 depicts the seed finally sprouting, showing the emergence of the new eco-conscious and artistic identity. This organic structure reinforces the themes of growth, renewal, and transformation. The prologue of Knight's memoir introduces us to the central theme of ecological restoration. We see Polly and Jack unloading saplings, pushing wheelbarrows, and planting acorns in the barren landscape. In the background stands a giant, fully grown tree that contrasts with the bare scene before us. This single panel powerfully communicates how their current labor will eventually transform this damaged site into a flourishing forest. This scene depicts Knight's real life participation in the National Forest Grow a Seed from Tree scheme at Poppywood in Derbyshire. After giving up infertility treatments, the couple channeled their nurturing impulses toward ecological stewardship. Unable to grow life in her body, Polly found a way to grow life in the earth. The shift is profound. Knight emphasizes that collecting acorns, watching them sprout, and planting them provided a lasting connection to the future. Trees live longer than humans and actively absorb carbon dioxide, making tree planting an environmentally beneficial choice. This contrasts sharply with the pressures of overpopulation that often accompany pronatalist thinking. Several key moments in the memoir illustrate this healing through nature. Early in her pregnancy journey, Knight draws her embryo surrounded by radiant light. Following her miscarriage, she draws a sprouted acorn in a pot with the same glowing rays. This visual parallel shows a psychological shift. Nurturing plant life brings hope and fulfillment comparable to pregnancy. Walking along the river Towy, after a miscarriage, Polly finds comfort in the unstoppable flow of water, reflecting that the river carries her grief away. And during CFS struggles, Polly envisions herself as a strong tree with expanding branches, gaining renewed energy and resilience from this image of herself as rooted and growing. Paula Knight's The Facts of Life demonstrates how graphic medicine can create space where environmental and health concerns meet by using natural metaphors, visual storytelling, and ecological action. Knight transforms her experience with illness and infertility. She refuses to view her infertile body through the lens of lack of failure. Instead, night shows us how nurturing impulses can be redirected toward the earth. Transforming a barren landscape into a forest expands the idea of mothering beyond biological constraints. The memoir illustrates how ecological consciousness can provide sustainable pathways for healing, resilience, and personal growth. In the end, Night does not simply accept her childlessness, she actively reimagines what it means to create life and leave a legacy. Her life reminds us that human well being and planetary health are inseparable. When we care for the earth, we also care for ourselves.